The representatives of the people are speaking in the halls of Congress. We heard from a number of members of the House of Representatives and the Senate last night. Some of them, obviously, on the Republican side, mostly, although John Fetterman, a Democratic senator, and Democratic representatives like Richie Torres, a pro-Israel stalwart, were backing the strike, saying that this was an opportunity to take out nuclear weapons. It was a one-off, as President Trump said, and therefore does not need congressional approval. And kudos to President Trump. And there are Democrats that are saying, This blew up any chance of diplomacy, that it was an unauthorized strike, that Congress needs to be brought back in now to vote on a war powers authorization, which Democrats will deny. I think what was the most interesting thing to emerge yesterday from Capitol Hill was the leaders of the Democratic Party in the House and Senate, as well as the ranking members, the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, the House Foreign Affairs Committee. They said they were not notified in advance. Typically, the so-called Gang of Eight, the House and Senate leaders on both sides and the House and Senate top representatives on the Intelligence Committee, they get notification of sensitive missions, such as what took place last night. Democrats said they were left out of the loop. Only a few of them found out after the fact. So that could be something to watch for going forward here. But it seems like Democrats are going to try to force a vote coming up in the Capitol in the coming days here on a potential war powers resolution. The Republican leaders, Mike Johnson in the House, John Thune in the Senate, have said we're behind President Trump 100%.
Now, obviously many figures in Trump's government, like his VP, J.D. Vance, have pursued clear isolationist policies, and striking Iran goes really directly against this almost. What are we hearing in terms of responses from within Trump's government and his closest aides?
Yeah, J.D. Vance is supposed to appear on a major American network this morning. Marco Rubio, as National Security Advisor, Secretary of State, will also appear on a couple of morning shows, and we could get a few more answers coming out of those particular interviews, especially, as you said, with J.D. Vance. But the so-called isolationist wing, it's interesting here that Donald Trump brought on what many perceived was a completely different security team as opposed to his first administration, which was filled with traditional Republican orthodoxy, foreign policy experts. This was supposed to be completely different, and yet here we are essentially with the same result. Whether J.D. Vance voiced his opinion and was ignored, whether he was drowned out by the others in the room, whether Trump just decided, hey, I've got to take this risk one way or another, regardless of what other people are saying, it remains to be seen. I think we'll find out more in the coming hours here. However, it was notable, one person who was not in the room last night, and we got a list of everybody who was in the Situation Room. One person who was not on that list, Tulsi Gabbard, the intelligence director, who's been criticized by President Trump implicitly and explicitly over the last week or so, basically saying her opinion doesn't matter. She's one of the ones that was saying Iran doesn't have any nukes and isn't trying to build any nukes.